Good morning and welcome to the show, and thanks for waking up with us. This morning I have Father Roy Marion from St. John's Catholic Church here in Panama City. Father Roy, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming out today. The Catholic Church has gone through a lot of changes with the new Pope. What do you make of all that?
That's normal course, of what this is about. The kingdom's unfolding. Kingdom of God is unfolding, and this is where we are in the current phase of the leadership. And everybody has a kind of wait and see, mentality to see what the Pope's going to do. The focus right now is getting the gospel, out to everybody as good news, and the focus is on the family. Looking at how life is led up to this point, where we have to ask some important and hard questions about life in the 21st century, and what it means, to be Christian in a world that's constantly changing. And so what we do is that we look in our own backyard and see what's going on. And there's going to be a synod coming up in October of 2015. But earlier than that, in our local area, our bishop is going to have a big gathering in Fort Walton Beach in February, where we'll have religious leaders, coming, and our emphasis, is also going to be connected with the Pope, focusing on family life and experiencing the joy of the gospel.
Now, your particular mission at St. John's, I guess, dovetails into the worldwide mission, and it is, maybe it's a small piece of the pie, but what is your mission at St. John's? I know my son went to St. John's school when he was a little boy through the primary years, and now he's a big college man, but I got to tell you that the school served him very well.
Well, the mission is not disconnected, from the Pope. The parish itself the boundaries are fluid. We have relationships with the other Catholic churches, and so we do joint projects together to push this mission forward. We priests are actually serving at the pleasure of our bishop, and he dictates what the agenda is, and then when we bring it to the parish, you should be able to go from church to church and see a very similar outcome. And what we're doing is emphasizing the family, but it goes from the newborns all the way to the 90+ somethings. We're finding people are living a lot longer, so you have the various needs, the different generations, and we look at how all of that makes demands, and how we bring that gospel message for all those different levels. We do this with the school, we do this with the people that are no longer connected with the school. And are now living their life in the Bay Area community, Bay County community, and there's just one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, 4 marks of the Church. We're just less parochial, and more collaborative, so that we can get this message out, that people are loved and cared for.
And the family is so important, because after all, even for non-religious people, I think they'll recognize that the family is the basic unit of civilization.
Yeah.
This is what separates us from the rest of nature.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I do find is, like right now, we're still in our Christmas season, as Catholics, that when you work with the children, they tell you very clearly what their souls are hungering for. It's not the stuff under the trees, that they're interested in. It's the time that you give them. And people make New Year's resolutions, to lose the weight that they gain over the holidays. If they'd made more resolve to say, I want to spend more time with my grandkids, because they're asking for that. Moms and dads, they have their kids in all kinds of activity, but when the day is done, the kids want to tell their story, or they want to tell you what's going on inside their hearts, and they just want people to listen.
It's so true, Father, because I know when my kids were growing up, it was always at work. There was always a lot of work. There was always something to do. And when they really need you the most, when they're young, is when you're the busiest making a living. And when they're old enough to be on their own, and maybe you're retired, now you have the time, but you don't have the opportunity. And it's a real balancing act. We have to run off to the local weather, but on the other side of that, maybe you can give us some thoughts for the new year, and how we should proceed through 2015, and what we should have in our hearts and minds if we want to improve our family relationships. We'll be right back after your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm, westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show, and Happy New Year. But we're still celebrating Christmas here on the Don Show, and I'm here with Father Roy from St. John's Catholic Church. We're having a little conversation about the importance of family and, and that whole dynamic of working hard when you're a young parent to support your family, but not having the time. And when the family's older, when the kids are grown and maybe off to college or whatever, you have a little more time to spend with them. And it's just, there's kind of a disconnect there. It's a real balancing act, isn't it, Father?
Yes, it is. A lot of families are torn, between trying to, to make good for their family and provide for them. But then at the end of the day, what I've witnessed in the school children that I deal with at our school, and then, in conversations with, with the children, after church services, that the things that they speak about are the times that family spends with them, and when they spend time with their family. I mean, they have all the typical distractions that our culture serves up, but in the end, what they want, is time to be with the people that love them. And that doesn't seem to change. In fact, it seems to be more of a desire.
It won't be the gadgets and gizmos and electronics and scooters and things like that they'll really miss. It'll be that family time and being available. And throughout the Christmas season, that's what we should be focusing on. And we talked before the show about the Christmas season. I have neighbors the day after Christmas, boom, the decorations come down. Catholics tend to keep up their decorations a little longer, don't they?
That we do, because the Christmas season, doesn't end until the baptism of Jesus, which usually is the second week of January, and then we enter a period of ordinary time before the Lenten season. And during the Christmas season, we are thinking about new life. We have we celebrate the whole story of not only the birth of Christ, but his presentation in the temple, his public presentation, where he's now acknowledged, as one of a community. And then the short stories of his, of his early life, and we make new resolves about how we're going to be family for the coming year. And those needs don't change from year to year; they just need to be renewed.
What would you be your advice, maybe, to young families in 2015?
Well, there's nothing in the universe that says that you function at breakneck speed, because a life lived without reflection, means that you've collected a bunch of experiences, but if there's no time to create value, out of those experiences, and then, what do you offer your children but a legacy of busyness, with no reflection. So I think we have to, give ourselves the time to pause, reflect on what we've experienced, what we've encountered, and to be able to share that with our children and explain to them the importance, of having direction and allowing ourselves, to be guided by the providence of God.
Particularly that's a challenge for people in the military. I'm a retired Air Force officer, and for a lot of my colleagues, it was that next school you needed to go to, that next promotion, that next assignment, that next, PCS that you had to get that promotion. Sometimes you should pass on those things just to maintain that family togetherness, shouldn't you? Well,
we're also a creature of imagination, and what's the point in having all this technology if we're not going to use it, in a way that allows us to make those connections when we are in non-negotiable situations? I mean, the military, sometimes they have to respond because they've given their lives over, and families buy into that. So, when the military have to, answer the call to duty, then the family also has to be creative in how they stay connected, but it has to be mutual. Sometimes it is that midnight FaceTime, that you're doing, on the, on your tablets or your computer, because that's what you would do.
Sometimes Skyping is the best you can do when you're in that position.
We did this with a family whose loved one was overseas in the Middle East at the children's Christmas vigil, so that he could be a part of it, which meant he had to get up. You had to stay up, at an hour, late.
Dark 30.
Yes, exactly. Just so he could be there because his son and daughter were singing in the Christmas choir. Well, it's like, we have the technology. We use it for all kinds of distractions, to entertain ourselves,
but keep ourselves together.
But it was an opportunity to, connect the family, in that way. And so we need to be smart about it. I mean, if all our technology is going to do is serve up entertainment, then all we've become are clever animals. But rather we need to be smart about it and use it in these ways to keep people connected.
Father Roy, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're so out of time, it's not funny, but I think good thoughts for the new year would be to stay close to your family.
Exactly.
And I knew when it was time to retire. I think you people should know when it's time to retire too. Thank you again, and thanks for everything you do at St. John's Catholic Church.
Very well, God bless you.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is David Lovett, and this is your Mad Hatter Minute. Today we're going to be talking about brakes. It's a great thing when your car runs right, but it means very little if you cannot stop. If you're maintaining your vehicle on a regular basis, you're rotating your tires every 6,000 miles. A good service technician, when rotating the tires, will be inspecting the brake system. They'll be looking at your brake pads, your brake calipers, your brake hoses, and your brake rotors. It's up to that technician to come back out and tell you, the customer, that you're getting close to needing a brake jobs. Brake jobs are a very simple process. A sign you can tell by yourself if you're going to need a brake job is a vibration. You get a vibration in the steering wheel, or you get a vibration back in the seat when you're applying your brake pedal. What this is your brake pads are closing in on your brake rotors, and your brake rotors are getting warped. They're warping left, they're warping right, getting high and low spots. And when you press your brakes, it creates a vibration which you feel back into your steering wheel and back in your seat. You'll know you need a brake job when you hear a high-pitched squealing noise coming when you're braking. Now that squealing noise will come when you're pressing your brakes, and sometimes you'll hear that squealing noise when you're just driving down the road. What that is on the brake pad, there's a little tab, and it's a hardened metal, and it makes contact to the rotor. When it makes contact to the rotor, it emits a high-pitched squeal. That's your car telling you you need a brake job. And when you hear that noise, get your car to a shop as soon as possible, because a simple brake job is going to turn into an expensive brake job before you know it. I'm David Lovett, and this has been your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hey folks, this is Joshua Brown with Mad Hatter on 23rd Street. Is your check engine light on? If it is, text MADHAT28, that's MADHAT28, to 24247, and we'll check it for free.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Benita King Steinkamp from Capstone House, and you probably know her as Benita the Lady Hypnotist, but you're so much more than that. I mean, I say that, Benita the Lady Hypnotist, like it's an act or whatever, or entertainment, which you do.
Yes.
But you do some really constructive things at Capstone House, and I know we talked a little bit about the classes that you're going to teach on NLP. What is NLP?
Yes, NLP is the language of excellence and peak performance in all areas of experience.
What does NLP stand for?
Neuro-linguistic psychology.
Neuro-linguistic
That's
psychology.
Right.
And how does that work?
Yeah, and it's what we say to ourselves and what we say to others, and is it working for us? And it's the language of peak performance and outcome-based thinking. Now, when we think of outcome-based thinking, we think of something that we're creating. And when we're creating something, do we step into the outcome and begin to live the experience as we're creating it? If we're not doing that, this is something that this class teaches us how to do, is to experience the outcome creatively through our senses, all of our senses.
Just the only downside. So it's almost like if you say it enough, it'll become true, or that things become self-fulfilling prophecies if you
that's right.
think it and talk it?
If you believe it. If you walk the walk and talk the talk, and if you believe it. Well, now let's look at belief. Belief is a word that, how do I get to belief from here? Through your senses, through all of your senses, and there's a complete set of language skills that comes that we use through our senses to create the experience and walk it and talk it and make it a reality. Now, it's made a model processing. What do you want? What if you had what you want? How would you get it? Who's involved in helping you achieve that? When will it happen? Where will it happen? And when you begin breaking it down, you run that meta model over and over and over. Well, where am I now in this process? Who's involved now? Is that working for me? If that's not working for me, what can I do instead? And you just keep running the program. And the belief system comes through your senses and your sensory perception as to how you're feeling, how much of that is old history, things that didn't work for you. Call them out, get them out of the way, find the new, find out what's really happening and embrace it. And we get outstanding results from NLP processing.
And I got to tell you, Benny, that almost sounds like something you can do to improve yourself in 2015. Because I had this conversation with my wife recently. It's like, it's been a while since I sat in a classroom. It's been a while since I've done some self-improvement.
That's right.
And this seems like you hit the nail right on the head for someone who's looking to improve their outcomes and improve their lives.
That's right. You can do anything. You can master so many things with NLP. And it becomes inherent within us to behave this way, to use these language skills, and to use the meta model processing and many things that we do. And it is improvement, self-improvement, and it is fun, exciting. It's a wonderful experience.
So, but it takes a plan. Like say you're starting a business, it takes a business plan. But I guess things will fall into place if you really embrace your success early on.
Right. Well, in the meta model processing, who's involved in helping you make that plan? What do you need to begin to start to make that plan today? And the business plan, if you're not a business planner, who's involved? Fill that blank. Who's involved? And get that process going. And so each meta model question has an answer, and it comes from you because it's your experience, it's your reality. And if you don't know who it is, get that research done, find that person.
Benita, the King Steinkamp, thank you so much. How do we enroll in this class, and how do we find out more about it?
It's at Capstone House, and we're starting another class January 3rd. It's on a Saturday at 11. 747-9224 is the phone number. Give us a call. If you can't make that class, we'll put you in a second class.
Thank you so much for that advice, and I think I got a New Year's resolution cooking here.
All
and
right.
We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show, and now for the musical stylings of Kristen Barkaloo.
Took that first step. We used to laugh at songs that sound like memories and at bittersweet goodbyes. I tell ourselves we're not in love when we could just lie. We were 18 and alive, driving on the outskirts of the city. We were young, you were singing with me, alright. Not so long ago, I used to hang on your every word. And if you'd asked, I would have said the sound of you laughing was the best sound that I'd heard. Do you think about it now, the way it could have been these days? There was a life I could have lived with you, but we let it get away. I'll admit I might have cried, those days are done now anyway. We were 18 and alive, dancing in the middle of the city. We were young, you were singing with me, can still